All right, let's take a look at compositions to start things out with. GNX playing the Tracer, something we know him for. Come out of Chaos Theory. Could actually be pretty even comps both sides as well. Those just parity so far. Likely to see both Lucios go on to the Mercies as well. Quick reminder that the Fearless here for Incipience, not the same Fearless as Shanghai Dragons Fearless, different member. Opening push gonna come out with nice quick duel from GNX and Blue, but I think they'll just both ignore each other at this point. It's on the pagoda, it's on that middle section. The tanks are really going to start meeting up, and what kind of impact these fires are going to have is all going to play a large part in this game, but Incipience with the very early lead here. Blue, one of the few remaining members alive for Nova, is going to try and get at least a response trade on the back line, but not going to find that. Point did open, and point will go over for Incipience very soon. Nice and clean cap. Didn't lose any members. Cryptic understanding his space quite well as well. Nearly collected the kill onto one. Ultimate did come up online for Blue earlier than Incipience's GNX. So for Nova Esports, if they can get onto this point quickly enough. Backline pressure as well. Going to be forcing Xeon Flux into the ground. Where teammate Nexus is going to complete the alley-oop. Dunk on his face. Pulse Bomb did come out, didn't quite get anything done with it. Speaking of dunks, so it's going to be Xenofly with a kill onto Nexus, and this should now ensure with Incipience, again, without really losing too many members, Cryptic goes down towards the end, but there shouldn't be enough members lost that Incipience are actually at risk of losing the point, unless the tanks go down, which they're not going to go down for now. Nova kind of struggling to get their feet onto this cap so far. Despite what you'd probably say is a decent start, Xeon Flux going down as the Zenyatta. But Nova just couldn't convert onto further kills. Taking a bit too much damage themselves. Rocket Barrage now available on both sides. And again, Blue gets himself a Pulse Bomb, but that is a very low, I believe it was Crazies, but he's managed to get himself away. That's a stick. But man, Xenofly is just so healthy. Topped right back up. You didn't even notice that 300 damage come in. And something you'll do notice is that Shiki feels the pain of losing his own mech, and comprehensively it's Incipience just once again not really losing any members themselves, able to cleanly push Nova back. And it's already at 90%. Oh, how time flies when Incipience are having fun here for Nova Esports. Coming up on most of their ultimates, nearly on 5. Blue with the Pulse Bomb nearly 6 in fact. This has got to be the push. This has got to be the one where they're really expected to win. No one should go down here during the Transcendence. One though, ooh, I guess he was flying a little bit too high into the air. Transcendence is gone, which means Crazies can't really risk getting that res in time. We really want to see one come back into this because he's got that barrage. Speaking of barrage, would you look at the weather report, it's Cryptic now. 1 kill in a D-mech. And he gets himself another kill anyway. 100 to 0. Incipience coming in with a bang. And Nova Esports, ironically, were a bang last season. We're starting things out 0-1 on Oasis. Going to Gardeners, let's see if they make any change-ups here. Do see some teams opt for Widowmaker and McCree onto this point. So didn't quite see a super high amount of impact coming up from one into the Furrow. Didn't quite see too much impact overall from the Nova players. It was mainly Incipience one-sided there. They found most of the picks. Nova didn't really make many counter trades. Nova just didn't spend a lot of time fighting. Nova didn't spend a lot of time really engaging Incipience, and well, see what kind of lead teams can get here. It's going to be Nova at least feed onto the point first. The point hasn't unlocked yet, but they are going to force Incipience to bring the fight to them. Maybe positionally find a play out of position. Cryptic super low. Cryptic might go down. GNX down first though, and Cryptic actually lived through all of that. He was on no HP for a certain time, and now picks are starting to come through in a really nice fashion for Nova Esports. Just as the cap unlocks as well, so it's difficult for Incipience to really come in and contest. And with that, it's going to take over, but Cryptic's going to try and challenge for it anyway, and this is now where one is starting to really turn up, and that's what you wanted to see on this fire player. On City Center, but he brings it home on Gardens anyway, or at least to start with. Gonna have the first ultimate of the game. Rocket Barrage, nearly there, 90% for one. 20% in terms of progress. This is where Nova can afford to take it somewhat slower because they're happy to just tick up percentage points. Happy to look for kills into the sides, but you don't want to be losing Nexus. This might be one that's quite hard to res as well. One's got to rescue this fight. One has to use his barrage here, or they will probably lose because there's simply been too many members of Nova already gone down. Cryptic knows what his job is here. Take away the win condition. It doesn't matter that the ultimates are now coming on for Nova Esports because they don't have members. They just do not have what it takes to be able to hold on to this right now. One will make sure that One and GNX both with the ultimates, Pulse Bomb and a barrage to secure things out. The best part for Incipience is they still got 4 available. One now going to collect a quick kill into Cryptic. Himself going to be able to get a barrage in, but no distance with that, no mileage. Even managed to kill himself as Xenofly flew up into his face. Now we're in a position where, at the very least, Nova Esports, because they capped out earlier, have that buffer, have that percentage progress buffer lead to at least play with. Nice knock off the side. Nexus going to push Xeon Flux all the way out. Can't res that one. That should be the defense, or rather the offense for Nova Esports to be able to collect that cap back in their favor. Despite a bad start, despite some ultimates going wide, thankfully for them, other ultimates did work out in their favor. Last whisper there from old Cryptic as he's likely to get taken down. In fact, no, he's probably going to live. That's incredible. Second time now where he's been in very precarious situations. Low HP, manages to walk out with his life regardless. Doesn't matter for Nova though, they'll be happy to take the point. That's what's really key here, that's the priority. Bad news is they don't have ults. Something they'll have to deal with. 80% is a decent lead as we see if GNX can maybe find something with this Pulse Bomb. Teammate Cryptic already took down Oyo, so it does even up somewhat. Zout comes in just in time for Crazies. GNX has been sitting on his Pulse Bomb with 4 HP. Unsurprisingly, does get taken down for Nova Esports. Now taking this into overtime, 99%. Blue's not going to have the same fate as GNX here. Is going to be able to land that Pulse Bomb, is going to be able to find the kill. And now Incipience are in a tough place. Now they're feeding members in. Cryptic this time is going to be the one that doesn't get anything done with the barrage. And you start to see the Incipience member kind of trickle right onto here. Gonna try and just contest, but it's all over. Nova found the kills. Nova found the ultimates. Incipience did it. Tied up on a waste. Now 1-1. Can this be it? Can this be Nova now finding their rhythm that was kind of missing there on City Center? Which I'll remind you was a 100-0 in favor of Incipience. Check that replay from GNX as well. Where just barely misses out. Kill him to Oyo. But clutch transcendence there, I gotta admit.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round.
I'm wondering if Blue's really going to go into the Soldier because that's going to be a little bit different. Usually you'd see a McCree here, but Soldier does provide some extra healing, which could be quite beneficial. Not going to quite have the same burst damage though as McCree, so kind of seeing if he can make the Soldier work here. So hero that's been kind of pushed out of the meta in recent times. Rip Soldier, but let's get some gameplay on Contenders in a non-stagger and a non-stall environment. Already finds a kill with GNX, so I guess you'd have to say it's at least a good start. Oh, Savage Dab just completely pushed off the point. And as he goes back, Oyo just finds that kill into Cryptic, and as soon as the tanks are off that cap, as soon as the tanks are going out of the fight, bad news bears for the rest of Incipience, and now you've had a map where Incipience just undoubtedly had the lead the entire time. That was City Center. Gardens was somewhat still back and forth, and now somewhat similar to Gardens, we do actually have a lead for Nova, which they did have. We'll see if Nova can maintain this lead or if this is going to be more of a one-sided victory. They are going to get a decent advantage of 30% to 0 to start things out with, but we need some members on point because they have lost control and this is not ideal. Hard to find value on Visor as well. While I say that he did manage to get 1 kill, but that being said, Savage Dad wasn't exactly holding his shield up while the Visor was coming out, so finds a kill while tanks weren't quite there to mitigate the damage. Great placement of rockets by 1 there. And now this is starting to become a lead that is just so difficult for Incipience to catch up on. Incipience are going to have to win several fights in a row to be able to kind of even this deficit right now, and Blue is doing a surprisingly high amount of damage and a lot of work against Incipience. Dragon coming through. Quite see the resolution of that. Doesn't seem to have done that much. Certainly not enough to get Incipience into a position where they want to be. They are in a position to take down Nexus, so while that's happening, they get control of this point, so I guess you could say that ultimately the Dragon Strike did buy them the space they were looking for. Especially when you consider that it allowed Cryptic to get the angle into the back line as well. And Blue crucially going down, someone that's been, again, surprisingly doing a lot of work and putting a lot of pressure onto Incipience.
My ultimate is
Key
charged.
pick for Incipience as they move through. It's somewhat difficult for Nova to push through. Orisa Hog not known for their attacking power, known very well for their defensive power. But a good Halt Hook could do the difference here, or a good Helix Rocket from Blue could also make that difference. Barrage going to come through. Savage Dad tried to shatter there. Doesn't appear to have done much, could probably have missed. Now that tanks are out of the way, Visor from Blue is going to get this cleanup, at least into Xenofly. Gone are the days where you see Soldier get multi-kills, 3, 4, or 5 on the Visor. Now, I think you'd be happy with 1. 1 kill's good enough. Shooting at 99%. Nova seem to be well and truly able to get this whole even kill so far. Here comes that whole hog for Shiki as well. Should spell a decent amount of doom, but Incipience just are not giving up. And Shiki, on the last few scraps of that whole hog, Scrap Cannon, Cryptic taken down mid-barrage. Should be the final kills coming through here as well. Incipience are not going to get this first map, despite winning 100-0 in City Center in pretty convincing fashion. It's not going to be the rest of Oasis. Nova Esports coming back strong on Gardens, and then much stronger still on University. A well-deserved victory to start things off with. You always like to see a team make quote-unquote an unconventional pick or an unconventional composition / strategy and actually get that to work. Always a welcome sight for that team and Nova Esports. Now, I think this is the kind of result you'd expect to start things off with. Both the other previous matches, the underdog did get their opening map win, and you thought, okay, well, it's a good start for them, and maybe the other team just needs to wake up a little bit. But currently, when you look at this matchup so far, Nova just slightly more expected to gain a lead to get a win here, and it's certainly turning out that way for them. Oasis is a 2-1 victory where they did start off quite slow, but they managed to work their way back in, and as we progress through the different stages of Oasis, Nova absolutely just looks stronger and stronger and stronger. So going from strength to strength can then carry that strength over to the hybrid map. We've not seen any King's Road today. We've seen a decent amount of Eichenwalder now, twice in a row. Is it going to be the King's Road finally coming out is the question here. And it will be Incipience's map pick as well. And Incipience do have a decently sized roster, so we'll see if they want to make any potential roster swaps here. Well, not roster swaps, but player swaps. Second map's going to come through now. It is actually going to be Eichenwalder. So I'm going to triple dip this one tonight. Every single team, every single match is going to end up over here. which is going to kind of favor some very specific DPS picks and tank picks. Definitely going to see a lot more dive than we would see if it was on King's Row, which personally I'm quite happy with. And again, importantly, we see plays like Ambition come back in, because this might not be the type of map where GNX could really get a lot of work done unless he's been really grinding that Widowmaker or a Hanzo at this stage. But we know Ambition plays those projectile picks. We know Ambition can bring out that Hanzo, or most importantly the Pharah and I guess the Genji. So, hey, there's a world where we see both GNX and Ambition together. That would be the Chaos Theory DPSs back in the mix at the same time. Certainly not going to see swaps on the side. You're not expected to see swaps on the side of Nova Esports, at least. They do actually have one sub-player, East M, which is another DPS player, which they haven't utilized at all this season. So maybe unlikely to see it at this point. Teams that want to be able to rotate players have done so, and this doesn't seem like that team. Why would you anyway? What they're doing is currently working, and what's currently working should be good enough to just win you the series, and a 1-0 lead looks pretty good so far. Map is ready to go, so without further ado, let's head in. The very old and overgrown mossy castle of Eichenwalde. Let's see what kind of composition Nova are going to run. Likely to be the team that actually showed their hand early here. Orisa Hog into a Hanzo Pharah, so full projectile comp backed by ball and chain combo. Add in another tank in there and you suddenly have a solo heal defense. The interesting thing is it's actually going to be Oro on the D.Va instead of Shiki on the D.Va, so in a lot of these solo heal compositions we've seen the support player go into the Hog, but hey, Nova want to switch it up, that's fine. Certainly power to them there. Incipience not going to do anything too crazy. GNX and Cryptic's still going to be on the lineup for this map. A lot of pressure on two crazies. Less pressure in the form of the fact that there's no Widowmaker for Incipience, so he can't just get sniped out of the air. That is a very spicy hook to start things out with. A lot more kills coming out from Nova Esports. They only lose one, which is unfortunate, but they'll live with it. What they won't live with is losing crazies though, because that's the only healer. That also cost them their resurrection, their only resurrection that they didn't get to use. And now with no heals there, things get very difficult for this squad. Shiki can heal himself, but that's not going to quite be enough. Incipience can play this patiently and just outpoke this team. Pulse Bomb, easy stick onto Nexus there. No Fortify to counteract the damage, and I'd say even with the Fortify, probably not enough. Well, the Crazy's back into the mix and a whole hog ready to go. This is now actually the defense held fully for Nova Esports, so while Incipience could afford to play patiently, they couldn't afford to allow Crazies to get back onto the point and allow Nova to get the value. So Incipience needed to play for the damage, which they kind of did. Again, Pulse Bomb did come through, did collect Nexus, but they couldn't quite convert it to other kills. Hook's going to interrupt Cryptic's barrage and interrupts his life too, I guess. Doesn't even need a halt combo. Supercharger down for Nexus now. Again, as long as Crazies can live, things should be okay for Nova Esports. Keyword should. Right now they do seem fine for now, sustainable for now. Ooh, until that happens though, suddenly now, you know, those two kills coming in, we still haven't quite seen the res in play either. After the trance, so Xeonflux with the trance for his team. Can only do so much, and Incipience got themselves 2 kills. 2 kills again, not quite what's going to break this defense, especially when Shiki gets another whole hog. So Incipience is still stuck in the same position. Incipience still need to find the same picks. We're now less than halfway through, or rather more than halfway through, because we're under 2 minutes now. Shiki's been on point with the hook so far. That one not so much. Very interesting dive from Savage Dave, who doesn't get his Primal Rage off in time. Perhaps chose not to either. I mean, you already lost the Flux. Now you'll lose a lot more. You'd be lucky to get Xeno fly out of there in time. I guess they were lucky in that regard. Very unlucky in every other regard, the other 5 members. And every time Incipients get fully reset like this, the more time they lose and the more opportunity they give Nova Esports to get some ultimates back themselves. And Shiki, every time he's had a whole hog, it's been a fight win for Nova Esports. So can't afford to do that too many more times. Savage Dab again, no Primal Rage, but you'd expect maybe a Samurai he got hooked in and blasted in the face. So that would probably be why. And that being said, it's getting difficult now for Nova. Crazy's actually did manage to get this Valkyrie out. Shiki's got rezzed in. I was going to say there wasn't a whole hog that could make the difference, but because Shiki's back alive, now he's at 98%. Smacks GNX in the face. That's going to complete the charge. Let's finish. The sounds about right as well. Didn't quite wait for the hold, so not going to complete the hog. But he is going to get this whole hog in there, and just at the time when Savage Dab wants to be able to come in with Primal as well, so pushes him away. One's going to look for a cleanup. Gets the duster out. Does a lot of cleaning here. Spick and span. A point is so clean you could eat off it right now, as Incipients do not get the final touch on there. Overtime ticks out a full hold for Nova Esports. Oh boy, that is now a super tough place for Incipients to be. A team that is already 0-2, bottom of the standings. Really need some wins here. Really need some map wins here specifically as well, because they're 1-7 in terms of map record. Only map they got was versus Hong Kong Attitude. They're about to be 0-2 down if Nova Esports can complete this A attack, and you'd say based on how good their defense was, yeah, it's probably on the cards. Even though you can't directly relate defensive ability to offensive ability, what you can say is they just thoroughly outplayed Incipients in most regards, even during places where Incipients definitely had the lead. When you look at places where Crazy's died, the one time Crazy's died, really, that wasn't a camp. That was not an Incipients camp. Despite getting a few more picks, despite taking down key tank members and whatnot, it's not quite enough. Shiki was definitely a big member there. Did so much on the hog. And Incipients with their own now solo heal defense. Same sort of pressure will be on Felix. Can he stay alive to supply these heals? Because if he goes down, the cookie crumbles rather quickly as well. And if Blue is going to stay on the Widowmaker, I'd say Felix is going to spend a lot of time hiding. And if he doesn't spend a whole lot of time hiding, he's going to die. And if he dies, his point will likely be over. Not a lot of room for error here for Incipients at all.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
See what opening picks can we get here. One shot onto Cryptic, gets healed back up pretty quickly. I think Blue may think about changing his mind onto the fire again once he realizes what kind of defense Incipients has, but truth be told, it may not be the case either, so we'll just have to see what kind of decision making he's got here. Both teams with Orisa Hog, but only one team, or rather no, I lie, both teams actually have a Diva as well, so both teams should be able to stop the Holtz. With Blue picking up GNX, depending on where he died, it can't be a res. Oh, this is now turning quite bad for Incipients. That's 3 kills now, no res yet. Even a res coming out of the stage would probably not quite be enough. Far too many players getting taken down. Complete snowball worth of kills. They only need one taken. They're gonna get it. They're gonna get it so cleanly, so easily as well. One attempt onto A. Solo kill onto GNX, followed by further picks. More kills that Incipience can afford to lose. Kills that they can't even effectively res back up. Interested to see what this play was for either as well. Yeah, he'll take that. He'll take it. Especially if it leads you to a full hold on A, then a one attempt push onto the A as well. And Nova Esports, man, they are coming out strong. And oof, for Incipience, this is just not their day. This is a bad day for them. But so far, they haven't actually had a good day in Contenders Season 2. So for a team that technically finished above Cyclops Athlete Gaming and Trials, it's definitely having a much worse time in the regular season compared to Cyclops Athlete Gaming, who are currently pretty much sitting right at the top of the table, and for Incipience at the bottom of the table. A strong possibility they don't even walk away with a map win here, and that would seriously hurt their record. That would hurt their ability to make playoffs at this rate. If they go 0-3, they just maybe don't make playoffs. They might not win any games. It's not really going to get too much easier. They still got a lot of tough competition in this group. Things not looking too fantastic, but we'll say for Nova Esports so far, a 2-0 lead they can be quite happy about. Now it's time to see if they can sort of just finish this match off. And so far we haven't had any comebacks. When a team has had this kind of a lead, at least today, they've been able to finish through. So we'll see if Nova do the same thing. I'm going to take a bit of a break. When we come back, the conclusion for the final match of the evening on day 5 of Overwatch Contenders Pacific Season 2.